Hello again, my friends. Today, we're going to talk about a play. We're going to talk about Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. But we're not actually necessarily going to talk about this Waiting for Godot. We're going to talk about this Waiting for Godot. Or rather, Waiting for Godot, as we'll talk about here shortly. This is the production that I had the absolute pleasure of seeing back in September with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. Bill and Ted, right? I mean, come on. This video is going to contain spoilers, not just of the play itself, but of the specific production with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. So if you're aiming to see it and you don't want things to get ruined for you, you might want to turn this off. But the main thing I want to talk about here is that Waiting for Godot could be Bill and Ted 4. I'm going to say it is. And now I'm going to explain why. So first of all, let's get the pronunciation out of the thing. I keep saying Godot instead of Godot. Lots of people say Waiting for Godot. That's what I was saying the whole time leading up to it. Waiting for Godot. In the play, Alex Winter's character, Vladimir, says Godot. First time he says it, clearly. And I thought this was a Bill and Ted reference, like Socrates. Like he's pronouncing Socrates like Socrates. I thought that was the same thing for Godot versus Godot. But then I saw an interview with Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter. I guess it was on Colbert. And one of them said that it works, or maybe together they were just discussing, that it works better with the play's other names, such as Pazzo. There's not a lot of characters, but Pazzo is one of a very distinct name. Godot, Pazzo, especially since they get mistaken for each other. It seems to work, but also that this was apparently Samuel Beckett's preference was Godot, not Godot. So take that as you will. I'll probably call it Godot through the rest of this. I watched it at the Hudson Theater in New York. It was part of the previews in September. First time I'd seen Waiting for Godot. Didn't know anything about it at all. Didn't want to. I'm one of those people that when I buy or go see a band, if they got a new record out, I want to hold off on buying the record until I see it live so that I can have things permeate my brain and then get the record and be like, oh yeah, that song, and like have things that I want to take in as opposed to things that I want to hear that I've already heard. I like the freshness, the newness, being taken off guard. So let me try to explain the story of Waiting for Godot with no analysis. This is just what the events are. So basically you got two characters. Estragon, played by Keanu Reeves, Vladimir, played by Alex Winter. They're waiting for this character, Godot, by a tree that has no leaves. Vladimir's more attuned to the task. You'll learn they're always repeating that day where they're waiting for Godot. And I think it was Estragon who was the day before in his memory, even though they repeat that day, was like beaten up and left in a ditch by some people. So they're hanging out by this tree. The tree never appears on the stage. They just reference it from afar. The set is actually a giant cone that they are standing in that will change kind of the color, and the backdrop will sometimes change at the back of the cone. That kind of gives like an effect of sun or moon rising or setting, and characters will like come and go through the back of the cone. It fits the esoteric strangeness of the play. So anyway, these characters, Pazzo and Lucky, show up. Pazzo is played by Brandon Dearden, and Lucky is played by a guy named Michael Patrick Thornton. Both of them did fantastic jobs. I did not know these characters, and they were like believable. These are such like strange characters and such strange dialogue that they deliver perfectly, real naturally, which is no small feat for this play. So anyway, Pazzo and Lucky show up. Pazzo is the master, Lucky is the slave, and they're on the way to market, supposedly so that Pazzo can sell Lucky. Pazzo is a dick. He wants recognition, but he's also kind of sensitive anytime anyone kind of hurts his feelings. Lucky is just kind of seems like a blank, but he acts on Pazzo's command to dance and to think in different ways, which are displayed on the stage. I will note the character, not the character, but the actor who plays Lucky, Michael Patrick Thornton, is in a wheelchair. So I thought that was a really interesting choice for a character who has a scene where they dance. And what qualifies for dancing is perfect, which I won't ruin that. He is very excellent in that role. He's the only character who has a huge, long, difficult monologue, and he really knocked it out of the park. Like it was deep, and I think in the play that monologue is supposed to be nonsensical to some degree, but it was just such a well-delivered chain of thought that it was very affecting in the moment. So kudos to him. So anyway, Lucky and Pazzo, they end up leaving after that. After there's a little bit of friction with our characters, Estragon and Vladimir. Then a boy comes. A boy shows up, and he speaks for Godot that they're waiting for. And he says, Godot is coming tomorrow. And of course, this disappoints Vladimir more than Estragon, because through the play, Estragon's kind of more sensitive and kind of just tagging along with Vladimir. And Vladimir's the one that's really insistent about waiting for Godot. And when the boy comes, it's, a disappointment, but then the boy leaves, and Estragon and Vladimir are just kind of there, and they're saying that they're going to leave, but then they don't. And that happens a lot. There's a lot of saying that actions are going to happen, but nobody completes the actions, which we'll get to why I think that is. So Act 2 is just like Act 1. The same thing repeats, but differently. The tree has some leaves. Pazzo shows up. He's blind. Lucky is now fully mute. Can't speak. And they don't remember Estragon and Vladimir. They don't remember Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves. They don't remember Bill and Ted. They have conflicting memories, and then they leave. The boy comes back again, says pretty much the same stuff, doesn't remember them from before. Doesn't remember them from Act 1, which was the day before, which was a repeat of Act 2, or a pre-peat of Act 2, which was, again, this day that they apparently keep having. So when the boy comes back, says very similar stuff, says he doesn't remember them from before, Vladimir, Alex Winter's character, Bill, ends up getting angry at the kid and is frustrated and just like, remember me, like demands that he remembers him. And then the kid goes off, and again, they say that they express an intention to leave, but then they don't. My take here is that they are stuck between being and non-being. They're stuck in the afterlife, and they're stuck on some memory or some idea of what is supposed to happen. That's what I think this situation is in the play Waiting for Godot. Now, let's get into how this is like Bill and Ted 4. Because on the surface, it seems a little like, what is this? What's happening here? How is this, all this weird stuff, this supposedly absurdist story, how is this like Bill and Ted 4? How could this be Bill and Ted 4 except that Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are in it, playing the main characters? Well, think, first of all, let's consider the end of the last installment of Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted Face the Music. What happened at the end of that movie? Again, spoilers to come if you haven't seen it. But at the end of Face the Music, Bill and Ted became infinite beings. They went beyond time. They went beyond existence. They got everybody in the universe together in a single moment, and they noted that they are infinite beings. Keanu Reeves, or the character of Ted, specifically said this to Missy and Deacon in one of the final scenes when they are bringing the universe together, when they are fulfilling their destiny as Bill and Ted. So, if they are infinite beings, that means Ted Theodore Logan, as an infinite being, is everybody else. And that means Ted Theodore Logan is Keanu Reeves. Ted Theodore Logan is also John Wick. He's also Neo from The Matrix. I don't think anyone would argue with that. And I know these are dreams we create, but dreams we create, thoughts are things. These things exist. And in the fiction of what we're discussing here, the Bill and Ted series, and Waiting for Godot, the very nature that they are infinite beings means that those characters are all the characters, and perhaps more heavily weighted toward the characters that are actually connected in reality, in the reality we know, and at least weighted from our perspective. So Keanu Reeves is Theodore Logan. He is John Wick. He is Neo. Alex Winter is Bill S. Preston, Esquire. Alex Winter is Ricky Coogan. He's Hefty Smurf. Alex Winter is the bad guy in Grand Piano. Hold that in mind, and consider also that now they are these characters, Estragon and Vladimir, as well. Okay, still maybe a stretch, but consider this. In the play, the only place these characters are listed as Estragon and Vladimir is in the script. When they're actually talking to each other in the play, they refer to each other as Dee and Gogo. Also, Vladimir at one point is called Mr. Albert, I believe, by the boy. And Estragon is referred to as Adam, I believe, by Pazzo, perhaps. So why not Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves? Why not Bill and Ted? If they can defy their names within the confines of the play itself, if they're Gogo and Dee and not Vladimir and Estragon, even though they are Vladimir and Estragon too, then they are also the characters playing them, Alex Winter and Bill and Ted, Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, or Bill and Ted. Everyone's all the same. It's all just a jumble. The characters are outside of time. They're in some kind of afterlife, perhaps stuck waiting and repeating. Everything moves like molasses as if their bodies do not fully serve their thoughts. That's the whole thing of expressing their intention to move, their intention to do things, but then the inability to do that. The play opens with Keanu or Estragon or Gogo or whatever his name is, trying to take off his boot and having a hell of a time doing that. In that case, then, that is maybe a little dour that our heroes, Bill and Ted, are stuck in an existential crisis at the end of the end, but also it's the end of the end. If you're an infinite being, eventually the next step is just to move out into the infinite and rejoin the flow of energy that is the pure consciousness or the Godhead or whatever. And this Waiting for Godot could be read as Bill and Ted, as these infinite beings, having gone through all the moments of the universe and united them into one, just trying to figure out where to move from there. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't have to be it's written as a tragic comedy. The play says a tragic comedy in 2 acts. Yeah, I'll give it that. But is it tragic? Is it tragic? Eventually, I would think that they would get it. I think that eventually, and in the play, really, Vladimir is the only one who needs to get it because Estragon kind of is sick of waiting for Godot, but he's going along with his buddy. Ted is going along with Bill. And it fits that Estragon is the more sensitive one. I feel like it always works. That doesn't mean that they wouldn't put out a Bill and Ted 4. But no matter what they do between here and the end of time, I think that this serves as a good bookend for the Bill and Ted series. And I take the Bill and Ted series very, very seriously. To me, that's a religion, and I could do a whole video on that. I think Bill and Ted is they formed a generation of at least a certain type of Xennial, I guess. I feel like so much of who I am in my interest were just made firm by Bill and Ted. I'm good to follow them as the God figures to the absolute, breaking through into the absolute and letting it pour down on all of us, whether they be Estragon and Vladimir or Bill and Ted or Keanu and Alex or whatever, Hefty Smurf and Neo. One big spoiler that I want to give here. This is a big one. This is gonna ruin. But it's just it's very telling in what I'm saying here of them all being the same characters and that kind of being the intent here. There is a part where they're back to back in the play. Estragon and Vladimir, Gogo and Dee, Bill and Ted, whatever their names are, they are back to back. And the line, it's Estragon's line, I think, says, "Back to back like in the good old days." And in the play, when this line is delivered, they turn around and do air guitar. So, yeah, the good old days when they were Bill and Ted. So it's a perfect end to the Bill and Ted franchise. And if they put more Bill and Teds in between, that's totally fine. I don't want to shut that down in any way. The idea of what is happening in Waiting for Godot, of two lovers, two people that are very closely, very close, experiencing the end of time together, the end of time where they can't even like move or do anything, and everything's the same, and like there's nothing else to do but to just move on. Like it's perfect. It works. I'm so glad they did this, and if you are in the New York area, you've got to see it. It's only running for 16 weeks total, and at the time I'm recording it is more than halfway over. I really hope someone gets a video of it and that it becomes released somewhere. Aside from that version of it, I do want to bring up one line from the play that really struck me, because I went back after seeing the play and bought the book where I'm reading the play. So I'm getting more, hanging on to things more precisely in it. There's a favorite line in the book spoken by Vladimir. The line is this: "Astride of a grave and a difficult birth, down in the hole lingeringly, the gravedigger puts on the forceps." Blew my mind. Astride of a grave and a difficult birth. It's comparing the grave to the womb, vagina of the mother, and the gravedigger reaching in, and not with a shovel but with forceps, and pulling out that soul or whatever, removing you from the pure life, the life beyond life, the stream of endless energy and consciousness and all things together, the infinite, removing you and bringing you to this barren place. The gravedigger taking you from life with those forceps and bringing you into this cold, dead reality. I love that confluence of the hole in the ground being the place you go into, and like also a hole you come out of. I don't know, those things being compared in that way. Anyway, that's that. Go see this fucking play. It's really good. I love the Bill and Ted franchise. I love Keanu Reeves. I love Alex Winter. They, and again, maybe they're terrible people, but I don't think so. Don't meet your heroes, whatever. Not trying to be a celebrity worshiper, but they and the fiction that they have presented on screen in the collective dream cannot be more meaningful to me in this world that I live in. Bill and Ted Face the Music makes me cry when I watch it every time. So I just had to cover these things and what they mean to me. Please go see the play if you get a chance. It's great. It's worth it. Read the play. Support everything. I don't know. Like and subscribe. Bye.